I thought I was having a heart attack. I woke up out of my sleep, I was sweating, my heart was pounding, and I had the worst pain I have ever felt in my life. I couldn't breathe. I go to the best Black woman dermatologist in Buckhead. Like, she's great at what she does, but unfortunately, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my Accutane journey. I'm finally ready to make this video. It was requested probably a handful of times in the past, but I wanted to make sure that I properly portrayed my thoughts, opinions, and all the information that I have to share, because I didn't want this to be a video in support of or necessarily against Accutane. So if you don't know what Accutane is and you want to learn about it, or if you are here because you might be going on Accutane and you'd like to know my thoughts and opinions and my experience, then definitely keep watching. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know what Accutane is, I believe the brand name is called Roaccutane, and Accutane is pretty much the last resort medication for a lot of adults and maybe teenagers. We'll get to that in a moment. Accutane is what your dermatologist will recommend when you have exhausted all your options, when you have been on every single treatment sequencing known to man and science. Accutane is usually your last resort. Accutane is not anything to be taken lightly. If you do decide to go on an Accutane course or journey, it involves a lot of commitment. Especially if you are a woman, it also involves a lot of integrity. We're gonna get into that. So let's take a step back, and I wanna kind of just tell you guys about my acne journey, kind of my history with acne, and how I even arrived at the place to be on Accutane. If you are not new here, you know that I have struggled with acne for decades. Literally, I'll try to pull up the earliest picture of myself with acne. I think I was maybe 12 or 13. In my case, it's coupled with a few things, but mainly genetics. On my mother's side of the family, I know that people have struggled with acne, but when I first started developing acne, I wasn't really alarmed. You know, most teenagers or preteens, we kind of just think about acne being a normal part of our puberty journey, so I wasn't too concerned. But then I realized, like, time is going by and I still have acne. So I would say when it really got bad, I was probably about 16. And I remember because I was doing a summer program at Spelman where I ended up going to college. And I just remember that was the first time ever in life that I looked around. Or was it before that? Maybe it was before or after, but it was around that time. That was the first time where I actually felt like different. Maybe this was my senior year of high school. I was always someone who had a lot of self-confidence. I still do. Even now, I have lots of flaws. I'm very imperfect, but I was raised to believe that I'm beautiful exactly the way I am. And even despite these perceived flaws, they do not affect who I know myself to be, which is very important. And I'm so glad that I had my parents to instill those values at a young age, because having to endure acne into your adulthood is totally different than dealing with it in adolescence. So I entered college and my acne was still bad. At this point, I had been on doxycycline, which I believe is an antibiotic, because sometimes different things in your body can trigger acne. So that's one thing I want to make a differentiation between acne and breakouts. So a lot of times when trolls come on my channel and they try to be mean and they're like, well, just wash your face and just drink water. Acne is an actual skin condition, an actual medical condition. No, I could drink 100 gallons of water a day. That would do nothing for my acne, because it's not brought on by what I'm putting on my skin. It's more so internally. So sometimes antibiotics will work for that. So I remember being on doxycycline. That didn't work. And I think at age 16, I went on birth control for my acne, and that didn't work either. Now, the reason why a lot of women or girls are put on birth control for their acne is because it is believed when you get to the point where nothing else works leading up to it, such as topical creams and antibiotics, it's assumed that it's hormonally related. So I went on birth control, and that really did minimal for my acne. But looking back, I think my acne kind of hit its peak in my early 20s. So at the time when birth control was working, my acne was still like kind of moderate. So I got to college and finally I'd had enough. My personal dermatologist is one of the best Black woman dermatologists in Atlanta, in Buckhead. I have my own personal opinions about her, but she does a great job from a medical standpoint. Her bedside manner is not the greatest, but she is great at what she does. She was the one who put me on Accutane, and I remember reading about it. I went home and talked it over with my mom, and it was this whole big thing because Accutane affects your organs in a different way. You have to pretty much commit to not becoming pregnant. If you do become pregnant, to letting them know, and just maintaining the levels of, I believe, your liver and your kidneys maybe, because every month you have to go get testing to ensure that the medicine isn't damaging your organs. So already you're thinking, wow, I have the possibility of having organ damage to a fetus if I get pregnant, and potential organ damage to myself. So those were already two alarms that went off in my head, but because I didn't plan on getting pregnant and I knew that I was going to continue with my monthly blood draws to make sure that my levels were great, I didn't think anything of it. Some of the other possible side effects are mental health changes, and I think Accutane really just affects your body in such an intense way where it causes so many changes. And if you are a young adult, and this is where my first point of caution comes in, I would not advise any young adult to take Accutane. I know from my own experience, just the things that I dealt with, being in college and going on Accutane, there's like too many major stressors happening in your life. I don't think that is wise at all, but I understand that at that point, my dermatologist was like, well, nothing is working. So I dealt with a little bit of that, and it wasn't even necessarily depression for me. It was just like feeling a little, maybe a mild form of depression, just feeling unmotivated. And when you're an 18 or 19-year-old and you're in college, or maybe I was 17, you need to be very motivated, specifically if you're myself and you're going to college and you have further aspirations. So that was difficult. Another side effect I dealt with a lot was dryness. So pretty much Accutane works by shrinking and hopefully eliminating your sebaceous glands, and your sebaceous glands are the oil glands in your body. So Accutane works by drying your body up in all areas. Your joints hurt, your muscles hurt, your back hurts. It's like your whole body is being rid of all the natural lubrication that helps you feel your best. And that includes your eyes being dry, your lips being dry. Like your lips will feel like they are going to crack off. And that's usually a telltale sign when you look at someone with progressively bad acne who has very, very dry skin, they're probably on Accutane. So those are the main things I dealt with. Probably some emotional, like dysregulation. Like I wasn't depressed because I know what clinical depression is, but I definitely felt off. But dryness to me was the biggest challenge because there's nothing you can do besides lathering your body in Aquaphor to make sure that your skin feels nice. But I will say that I think after about 6 months or so, Accutane was working. My acne was clearing up. I'll try to insert some pictures. Once again, I'm still in college at this point, so I'm like, yay, I'm feeling good because now I don't look like the outcast. Because like I said, as you get older, acne starts to take more of a toll because you don't see people usually 20 and up with acne. Like it's a little abnormal. And I never felt ugly. I just felt different because none of my other friends had acne. But at that point, my Accutane was working. It was great. And then one day during the middle of the night, I thought I was having a heart attack. I woke up out of my sleep. I was sweating. My heart was pounding. And I had the worst pain I have ever felt in my life. I couldn't breathe. Like I thought I was having a heart attack. I called my mom. I went and sat in the lounge. I bought a cold drink to cool me down. And after maybe 45 minutes, the pain subsided and I went to sleep. Later that day, I went to the doctor and my doctor was like, oh, it's gas. I'm like, now honey, I know what gas feels like. I felt like I was dying. If I could liken it to anything, I would say probably what it feels like to have a kidney stone. So lo and behold, I didn't have kidney stones, but I had gallstones in my gallbladder. Now I can't say with 100% certainty if being on Accutane caused the gallbladder to have gallstones. I don't know the exact correlation, but prior to that, I had never had that type of attack and I never ever felt that way, and it got increasingly worse. So like once a month, and it wasn't really brought on by anything I ate. A lot of people say it's brought on by fatty foods. I could have gone out and had sushi, come home to my dorm room, and I would just be throwing up in intense pain, sweating, literally feeling like I'm having a heart attack and going to die. I mean, I can close my eyes and remember that excruciating pain, and it was so hard because none of my doctors could figure out what it was until finally somebody did an ultrasound and found that I had gallstones. So I eventually got my gallbladder removed, and by that time I was doing research, and I came to the conclusion that more than likely it was because of taking Accutane, so I discontinued it. And by that time, my acne had subsided, my skin was looking really great, and I felt my best. See, here's the thing with Accutane. It is going to be kind of given to you as it's a cure for your acne. And I know plenty of women and men who have been on Accutane, and it has eradicated their acne. Now, unfortunately for me, I guess I just have horrible genetics and hormones because my acne has since come back. So right now, I would say I kind of have moderate acne. I'm not on any acne treatments now because Accutane didn't work. And so I'm kind of just like, well, damn, what will work? I don't want to be on birth control because of my age. Not that I even really desire to have kids like that, but if and when the time comes, I don't want that to be something that is standing in my way from having kids. So right now I'm not on any treatment. The one thing that has been working, Dr. Dennis Gross Daily Universal Peel Pads, those have really changed my skin, and I'll insert some clips of what my skin looks like today. So all in all, my Accutane journey was that I believe it caused me to have gallstones. It caused some emotional dysregulation, a lot of dryness. It just caused me to not feel my best during a time that is so pivotal for young adults, being in college, trying to go after your wildest dreams, also trying to enjoy yourself and have fun, dealing with all these things that are literally attacking your body physically, mentally, and emotionally. It was just a lot. But like I said, by the time I got my gallbladder removed, my acne had subsided, and I would say for a few years it wasn't that bad, and then it got worse again at the start of the Porsche Panamera, aka the pandemic, and that was brought on by stress. I definitely do deal with hormonal acne, which is brought about by stress. Lots of times your cortisol levels are affected by your hormones. So, you know, I still don't have clear skin. The Accutane clearly was a waste. You know, I tried, I did my best. Will I go on to be on other acne treatments in the future? Who knows? But my advice to anyone who is contemplating going on Accutane is to really think about if it's worth it to you. I'm not gonna say go on Accutane or not. The one area of caution I would say is that if you are going to be on it, wait until your mid-20s when your frontal lobe is fully developed and you can make sound decisions. I can't imagine if I were to be living in Washington State all alone on Accutane, a freshman in college. Like, who knows what would have happened in my life if that were the case. I just think because of the way it affects your brain, you need to have your brain fully developed and be able to make sound decisions for yourself. You know, like I said, I know a lot of people who have great success stories with Accutane. Unfortunately, I was not one of those people. So when people are like, try this, try that, I've tried spironolactone, I've tried birth control, I've tried antibiotics, I've tried retinoids, I've tried every cream and pill under the sun. And I think where I am right now in my acne journey is just, you know, I'm in my 30s. One day I will get to a point where my hormones are not fluctuating or peaking and my acne will subside. The most important thing to me is that I'm healthy, and I will never, ever, ever go back on Accutane. Even if I knew that it would be a miracle drug and completely eradicate my acne, I would not go back on it because I didn't like the way it made me feel. That is my experience with Accutane. That is why I still have acne into my 30s. No amount of washing my face, drinking water, changing my pillowcase is going to change it. You know, everybody's body is different and everybody kind of handles things differently. And unfortunately, I am not one of these success cases with Accutane. But I really wanted to make this video just to put my experience out there, not to encourage or discourage anybody. But I feel like if I would have seen this video before going on Accutane, I maybe would have thought twice, because here's the thing, acne affects you mentally, and physically and emotionally. But at the end of the day, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. It was one of those things where I had insurance. If I could have the skin of my dreams, let's go for it. But to me, having perfect skin, it's just like if I were to get plastic surgery. I could do without it or with it, but who I am inside is what matters. So I'm choosing just to do what I can. Like I said, I might go back to my dermatologist and get further treatment, but right now my acne is being mildly controlled. It's definitely a lot better than it was at the height of the pandemic because I have less stress, thank you God. So now looking back at my journey in my 30s, do I regret going on Accutane? I'm gonna say no. I definitely wish that I would have chosen a better time in my life to go on Accutane, but I am glad that I tried it. I don't tend to regret many things in my life. The fact that Accutane didn't work for me is completely outside of my control. It works for some people, it doesn't work for others, but I'm glad that I exhausted all my resources at the time, because now I'm so content with knowing that this is just my body and this is the way it works. And you know what? It's me. God made me perfectly imperfect the way I am, and if I have to endure acne until I'm 40, I'm okay with that, because it's given me such a level of inner peace and self-confidence to know that I am who I am despite what I look like. And that's a major goal. But I just wanted to share my experience. I've never publicly talked about it because I just wanted to be very careful about the words that I chose. When you make a commitment to go on Accutane, it is not something that should be taken lightly. And I think oftentimes the medical field kind of pushes medicine on people where maybe you don't necessarily need it, or maybe it isn't something that you really care about, because I don't ever remember being excited about it beyond the fact that I wanted clear skin. But now looking at my journey, it's like, damn, you know, was that really worth it? I don't know. And who knows what effects my body could endure in the future. I would just say, do your research and make sure you're making decisions in your best interest. And if you do decide to go on any treatment, be sure to follow it to a T. So that is my Accutane journey, you guys. Fortunately for me right now, I'm just in a space where I'm okay with my imperfections. They make me who I am. Yeah, now I have a story to share with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my video sharing my experience. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. Of course, I will answer them. This is just something that I've always wanted to talk about, because negative people love coming on my channel talking about my skin as if I haven't exhausted all my resources. Like, I go to the best Black woman dermatologist in Buckhead. Like, she's great at what she does, but unfortunately all of our bodies are just made differently. So just sending a little bit of encouragement to anyone who is dealing with adult acne. I know how hard it is, but just remember that you are not your skin. I know it's easier said than done, but hang in there, it will eventually get better. I love you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.